Hey everybody, welcome back to the Driveway Engineer. I'm JR. This video, like all our videos, are guaranteed to be awesome or they're free. Today let's talk about transmissions because it keeps coming up and coming up and coming up, and I'm sure somebody will get triggered, so that's always fun. What transmission should you run with your LS swap? If you're going to run an automatic, and most people probably are because it's the simplest, it's the easiest, and it's in what's in most cars. It's also the cheapest. You have a few options. If you use the standard ICT billet, Dirty Dingo, whatever, LSX specialties, eBay $30 engine adapter plates in a Chevy, you're going to get a 1-inch setback, and that puts your stock transmission right back in the same spot it was. So if that's your intention, this video is really not for you. Just do that and put your transmission back where it was. I also don't intend this video to be for people with 4x4s. 4x4s have a lot more considerations than two-wheel drives. 4x4s have double the drive shafts to buy and everything else. So this is for two-wheel drive people. And we're going to talk about 4L60s versus 4L80s versus Turbo 350s and Turbo 400s. Quite simply, if you're doing anything other than a stock engine and you want overdrive, you need a 4L80, period. Trying to adapt to 700R4 is just a debacle of a nightmare. You got to get this thing from Bowtie Overdrives. It's $200. There's no real good way to do it with drive-by-wire. Just don't. Whatever you do, either use a Turbo 350 or Turbo 400, or get a 4L60 or 4L80 that goes behind your LS engine. Don't try to get a 4.3 4L60 from a 93 S10. Don't try to get a 700R4. Just get the match set. But with all that said, and if you're just going to drive around with a stock 5.3 or 4.8 and never do burnouts and never have fun, then you're done. You can quit watching the video. If you're going to make any kind of power, though, there's no sense at all in messing with a 4L60, period. 100 people are going to jump in the comments and tell me, yeah, when they're built right, when they're built right, when they're built right. Look at a build list for a 4L60. It replaces every single hard and soft part in the transmission. You get a new sun shell. You get a new planetary. You get a new reaction shell. You get new everything. You get Z-rated super duper clutches. And then your level 134 transmission, Black Edition, Ultra Platinum, still fails after a few years at the drag strip. There's absolutely, and then you're into it for, let's see what a built 4L60 cost. Here's Performa built. Level 1 street cruiser, up to 450 horsepower, $2,100. Go directly to hell. Black Edition, up to 1,000 horsepower, $5,000. I don't have $5,000 in my whole truck. This doesn't make any kind of sense no matter who you are. Even if you're rich, why would you spend this kind of money on a transmission? Monster transmission, who is absolutely wretched. Don't have to take my word for it. Just look them up on the Better Business Bureau. They're horrible. Everybody's seen the video of them impacting a transmission together with an impact, not checking a single clearance. But if you believe what you see on the power block and you just feel like being crazy and you want to completely screw all the way up, like just compound it. Get a 4L60 and get it from Monster so you're really double screwed. They still want $1,750 for one. I don't know who this, Animal Performance 4L60E Revenger transmission, 650 horsepower, $2,150. It's got a factory drum. It's got a factory 4-pin planetary. This is not going to support 650 horsepower, period. I don't care what they say. I don't care. It's not going to happen. Now let's look at 4L80s. So, I got my window a little small today. Here's one, $500. Mount Clemens, Michigan. Works good, shifts good, pulls good. Here's another. One is a 94, works great, 200. The other one's a 2003 4x4, 500, works great. By the way, the year doesn't matter. For like 99% of people who are out there going to make 700 horsepower or less, the year doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. Quit asking me. It doesn't matter. Get whatever year you can find that you know works. Here's one for $600. And I know somebody's going to say, I can't find them by me. Well, I'm pretty sure they have a UPS store near you, or a Fastenal near you, or an R&L shipping near you, where somebody will mail you one for a few $100. Even if you're paying $1,000 for a 4L80, it still makes absolutely no sense to pay double that for half the power capability. The power flow, the clutches, the way that every single thing in a 4L80 works is better than how... Look at... This is where the gear train ends in a 4L60, and it goes back for another 5 inches in a 4L80. Which one do you think is stronger? The only thing that a 4L80 needs, if you're not going to take it apart, and you shouldn't take it apart if it's working good, is a Transgo HD2 kit. This is it. It'll dual feed it. That's all you need to get up to 750 horsepower or so. At that point, you'll start to worry about ripping the input shaft off. But it's not really too much of a concern. Most of us are never going to get there. Everything about it is better. I know people are going to say, oh, it's heavy, it sucks more horsepower. There's been dyno test after dyno test. It does not seem to take any more horsepower. Without any extra friction, simply being heavier inside doesn't take any more horsepower to spin. It may start to affect your quarter mile times if you're running like 9-second, 8-second quarter mile times. And that's where people start to go to, the Power Glides and the Turbo 400s anyway. Like for most of us who just want to do burnouts on the way to the ice cream stand, the 4L80 is going to be just fine. The weight is quite a bit better, quite a bit more. A 4L80 weighs like 255 pounds with a converter, and a 4L60 only weighs like 180 pounds. But again, that tells you it's beefcake. I mean, it's a lot of beef for cheap. It tends to fit pretty much every Chevy pretty well. The newer ones from like 97 up, where they separated the cooling lines, the rearmost cooling line hits the tunnel in like early F-bodies and stuff like that, but you can just hit the floor. There's really no need to pick one core over another. Just find one that works, throw the Transgo kit in it, and go. The one downside, the only downside to a 4L80 is the converter cost is going to be, the converter's going to be pretty costly on a 4L80. There's a guy in my Facebook group. His name's Ryan Jans. He does converters. I have one in Darrell. It was $435 plus shipping, I think. I paid like $505. It's a 3,400 RPM converter. I just looked up the wrong thing because I'm an amateur. There we go. I want the group. So yeah, Ryan Jans, he sells these little converters here. They're much smaller than the Circle D. The Circle D is just a restalled that everybody else runs that you can only get up to 3,200 RPM. That's a restalled Trailblazer SS, so it's huge and it's heavy. These are a little smaller, a little lighter, and you can get them in higher stall speeds. I think they go up to like 4,200, but you'll have to message Ryan Jans on that to get to the bottom of that. That's pretty much it for this one. I hope this helps. I'm sure somebody's going to get upset because they spent a lot of money building their 4L60, but I'm sorry. Shouldn't have done that. I'll see you over on the Facebook group, and feel free to ask any questions over there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you next time.